Welcome, a channel made for transformation. This is story of true strength, begins where wisdom bows to Christ alone humbly.
Amina did not grow up dreaming of the throne. She grew up watching her mother sit on it, tired, careful, and alone. Queen Bakwa ruled Zazzau with wisdom, but every night she looked at her daughter with fear, not because she is weak, but because she was strong. The elders saw it, the soldiers whispered it, and the land waited. Zend arrived as a young warrior from a loyal clan. He was disciplined, quiet, and observant. Amina noticed him the day he refused to strike a weaker trainee. She saw kindness where others saw disobedience. Their eyes met. No smiles, no word, but something stayed. From that day, Zaid trained harder not to impress her, but to stand worthy beside her. They trained together often, too often for people not to notice. Zaid never crossed a line. He always stepped aside to let her lead. But loved is not only in touch, it is in presence. When Amina was wounded, Zaid stood guard all night without sleeping. When he was punished unfairly, she defended him without explaining why. The palace began to whisper.
Wisdom.
Musa noticed
Your guidance
everything.
is our strength.
He noticed how
Proceed.
Zaid looked at
My
Amina.
lord, the reports
He
confirm
noticed
it.
how
Then we must
Amina's
act with
voice
wisdom.
softened
Your
around
guidance
Zaid.
is our strength.
Musa did not
Proceed.
love Amina.
My lord, the
He
reports
loved
confirm
power.
it.
So he
Then we
began
must
to
act
speak
with
gently
wisdom.
to the
Your
elders.
guidance is
A
our
queen
strength.
cannot afford
Proceed.
distraction, he
My lord,
said.
the reports
Love
confirm
makes
it.
rulers
Then we
weak.
must act with
The
wisdom.
elders
Your
listened
guidance is
because
our
fear
strength.
always
Proceed.
listens. One night, Amina and Zaid stood on the palace wall, watching the city sleep. Zaidi almost spoke. Almost. He wanted to ask for permission to love her properly. He wanted to promise loyalty beyond duty. But before words could leave his mouth, the palace drums sounded war. That night, love learned how fragile time is. King Karama returned wounded from battle. As Amina held him, he spoke quietly. You cannot have everything, he said. Zazzau demands a sacrifice. She understood him immediately. Love was not forbidden, but it was expensive. When Karama died, the council gathered. They questioned Amina. They questioned her strength. They questioned her heart. Zaid stood among the soldiers, silent. Amina looked at him once, just once, and in that look, they both knew love would survive. But not together. Zaid requested to be sent to guard the outer territories, not as punishment, as protection. How bowed before Amina. No tears, no begging, just respect. And that was what broke her most. A queen, not without cost. Amina ruled fiercely. She won battles, she expanded Zazzau. She built walls. But sometimes at night, she stood alone, not weak, just human. Great leaders are not those who feel nothing.
They are those who feel everything and still choose duty. Years later, people spoke Queen Amina with awe. They spoke of her strength, her courage, her victors. But the land remembers something else. It remembered a woman who loved deeply and still chose her people. Queen Amina did not rise because she wanted power. She rose because responsibility kept finding her. Queen Amina ruled cities, commanded armies, and built walls that history still remembers. But her greatest strength was not her sword, it was her self-control. She chose wisdom over pride, purpose over pleasure, responsibility over comfort. And this is where her story quietly points us to Jesus, because long before crowns and throne, Jesus showed us that the strongest man is not the one who conquers others, but the one who conquers himself. He carried power without violence, authority without ego, and love without possession. Queen Amina teaches men this truth. If you cannot rule your heart, you cannot rule anything else. Jesus invites men into that higher strength where humility becomes power, discipline becomes freedom, and love becomes sacrifice. Amina ruled a kingdom. Jesus rules the heart. And only a man who follows Christ can do both well.